In the last two lessons, we have talked about the coordinate plane and relations, and both of these topics tie into a third piece to the puzzle known as functions. So, what is a function? A function is a special relationship between two values In this case, each input, which we consider our x values, has exactly one output. Now, the main concept here is deciding whether or not a relation is a function. And basically, if every x value has to have exactly one y value, we have two ways that we can test this. Number one, if we are given a set of ordered pairs, we want to look if x values repeat. If the x values repeat, then it is not a function. So, if we look at our list here, we want to determine whether or not these following relations are functions. In order to do that, we are going to look at the x values. In number one, I see 5, 3, 2, 0, and -1. All of those x values are different numbers. As long as that is the case, then we are going to state that, yes, this is a function. In number 2, we see -2, 0, 2, 3, and 2. Well, here we can see that 2 repeats. If it repeats, this is not a function, so we will write no. The same thing for number 3. We're going to look at -4, -3, -2, -1, -3. Well, I stated there are two -3's when we have repeating x values. No, this is not a function. In number 4, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, all of those x values are different numbers, so yes, it is a function. As we look at the tables, we want to look down the x column here and take notice if we have any repeating x values. In this case, I see a 3 and a 3. If they repeat, our answer is no, this is not a function. In number 6, it appears that all of the x values are different. If that's the case, the answer is yes. This is a function. In number 7, again, I see that all of our x values are different numbers, so yes, this is a function. In number 8, if you look at the x column here, you should notice that there are two 4's. So when you notice there's two 4's here, you will automatically say this is not a function. Now, a mapping diagram is another way that we can notice if an x value repeats. And in this case, we have to look at each arrow coming from the x column. Remember, the x's are on the left and the y's are on the right. So in this case, there is 1 -3, 1 -1, 1 2, and 1 4. If that's the case, then this is a function. However, if you look at number 10, we actually have two arrows coming from -1. This means that -1 repeats. There are two -1's. If an x value repeats, like this one, this is not a function. So that's how we're going to determine from a set of ordered pairs whether or not something is a function. However, we should know now that a relation is not always a mapping or a table or a set of ordered pairs. The fourth way that we could display a relation is using a graph. So if we want to test if a graph is a function, we're going to use something called the vertical line test. And what this means is if a vertical line intersects a graph more than once, then it is not a function. Now, hopefully you guys are aware that a vertical line goes up and down. So essentially, we are going to be drawing an imaginary vertical line through the graph that is given. So if you flip the page, you notice we have several graphs on the back. If I was to draw a vertical line through every one of these dots, those vertical lines cannot touch more than 1 point. Well, in number 11, this line right here touches 2 points. If that happens and the line touches the graph twice, then our answer is no, this is not a function because you have 2 repeating x values. If you look at number 12 and draw vertical lines through each one of the points there, your answer should be yes, because each line touched only 1 dot. In number 13, same idea. We draw our vertical lines. Our answer here should be no, because this last line I drew touches 2 points. Now, for continuous graphs, things that are connected with a line or curve, the idea is the same. If there is a place on the graph that I could draw a vertical line and that vertical line touches the graph twice, as this one does, this is not a function. However, in number 15, if I was to draw a vertical line at any place on that line, it would only touch 1 point, which means yes, it is a function. And the last one, number 16, again, if we were to draw vertical lines at any location on this graph, it only touches the curve of the graph once at each of those vertical lines. If that is the case, the answer here is yes, this is a function. We will practice a lot more of this skill and need to be able to identify whether or not something is a function throughout this unit, so please keep the notes in a safe place and return with them completed to class next time.